Welcome to my channel. Hi. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So let me just take a second here. Let me launch my TikTok window so that way I could see exactly what's happening on tic-tac-toe. I think toes are so disgusting. I think they are. Okay. I asked what this conversation was going to be about, and what I heard is the sixth story is now becoming obvious. So, whatever it is that's happening, whatever we've asked about, whatever we've been wondering, we're being given the answers. We're being given the answers. Now, I'm going to touch into a topic that is going to be something that, it's a little bit triggering for some people, but when have you known me to not be triggering? I am just, by virtue of my existence and every breath I take, I trigger people one way or another. Seriously, true story. It really is a true story. But I will be covering that. So if you want to invite your friends, to come watch this, I really highly recommend, because I'm going to be touching on the answer I was given for a question that I had posed, but slightly later in the live stream. I don't plan to be live for very long. So it would be good if you guys go ahead and invite people ASAP. Rocky. Okay, I'm almost done. This final deck I'm gonna shuffle, and then I'm told pulled from the bottom. Okay, let's see where this takes us. I have a really good idea of where this is gonna take us, and things are gonna start making sense. It's time for us to make sense of the reasoning as to why everything has kind of been going the way they have, like all the events since 2020, why it's been going the way it has, and what we could possibly do about it, or at the very least, so we can have an awareness of the degree of manipulation that we've been subjected to for the last at least 5 years. At the very least, 5 years. Okay. So let's look at this. Yep. Exactly. All right. So quite a few of us want a different type of existence at this point. Quite a few of us are ready for life to enter into a sweeter space, something with much more peace, much more happiness, stability, just, like a beautiful, peaceful life. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're hell bent on being ridiculously wealthy, moving to a mansion. You know what I mean? Just the little things in life, having those things improve our health, our financial stability, our relationships, the way we fit into our environment. These are basic desires, right? Very basic desires. Well, first and foremost, what's happening right now, the current portion of this story that's unfolding for us, your dedication to your process is absolutely being heavily tested. I just went through this last month. Yeah, it involved a lot of like tears. Yeah, a lot of very heavy, very dense emotions, questions of what am I even doing? Why do I have to do this? What is the whole purpose? Like, why does this keep happening? Why can't I this? Why can't I that? And all of these questions being asked internally, right? I usually go through things in advance of the collective so that when it's time for the collective to begin experiencing these things, it's usually 3 months in advance. But the gap between myself and the collective, it's narrowing. So for me, it literally just happened last month. And the reasoning that I experience things in advance of the collective is to give myself time to be able to process exactly what this period could potentially mean and the gifts that it offers in a very unspoken, unrecognized way. So that way, I'm not in the middle of freaking out myself when the collective needs me anchored in the reality of what this can do for us, like beneficial. And I can't be freaking out when you guys need me to have an awareness. My awareness comes from my experiences. It's because I've lived through the things I talk about. I never talk about things I haven't lived through. It makes me very uncomfortable to do that. So I just recently lived through this, and it's really this testing that's happening to see how dedicated are you to bring to fruition this beautiful next part of your life. How dedicated are you? Now, I'm assuming that that proverbial their goal is to have you discombobulated and so upside down in your perception, so deep in a state of self abnegation that by next summer, your entire life is upside down. That's bad. You don't have to learn in that way. That is bad. This is not just part of an ascension mechanic. This is not just part of your cycle, your ascension cycle, and a necessary component of your growth. And, this is being forced upon you by something outside of your divinity. This is part of a grander plan. I don't even want to use the grander plan. The word grander carries with it some potential for positivity on the side of the people pushing this on us. It's no. Um, when we zoom out and we see the macro versus the micro, the zoomed in versus the larger picture, right? The larger picture, uh, eventually this will benefit you. The zoomed in picture, you don't realize that you're being forced into experiences that are so unnecessary, so distortion creating. This is intended to create distortions within you, to cause you to get very crippled within yourself. So then what's happening? It's starting right now. We're in winter in reverse, trying to put everything upside down. So we have a whole bunch of different things that we're being made aware of, plans by our elected officials that I don't know if you support it, I don't know if you're against it, but there are definitely some plans and some actions that are being put into. Do you guys feel that? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's very uncomfortable. Okay. I'm being told to push through, push forward, push through. It's a very sickening feeling. It's not human. It's not human. So the end goal is to rob you of your sense of security, your sense of stability, to thrust all of us, this is a global thing, to thrust all of us into a space of just complete internal chaos. these are the first parts of a very complex, very malignant, intentionally malignant plan. I feel it in the high heart. It's a hyper excitation of energy. It's like you have these spheres, these balls, like ball bearings that are free floating in an atmosphere that it's able to free float in. It's like an unnatural gravity, and it's like woof, like a density, woof, just like that. Okay, it's a distraction. Anyways, what we need to do, and this is the key portion, we need to be aware of not just our magic, but our ethos. Your mindset is what charges your magic. When your mindset is negative, when your mindset is dense, when your mindset is about darkness, your magic becomes dense and dark. It becomes something malignant. When you enter into that state, you're very easily harvested. Your energy is very easily harvested. You can look at some of the teachings of the elders of the Zulu nation. They speak of species that are subterranean, that feed on adversity and strife, that feed on the pain and the suffering of the people of the surface. We are what's considered the neighboring peoples. We are the newest addition to this earth plane. So there's a feeding that's needing to take place. Oh, well, shit. Sorry. Sorry. This is a lie. This last card is a lie. This last card is a whole ass demon horrida fucking lie. All right, I will go into it. The Lady of Lightning surprises, sometimes shock, total paradigm shift. Expect events that will totally shock you. Expect events that are surprising to us, events that will completely shift the paradigm. Expect it. For some reason, something about oil rigs out deep, deep, deep in the ocean. Something will be discovered. I don't know if they will present this. Oh, I was not expecting this information. I don't know if they will release it out into the public, but I think in the next few months, and you guys have to remember this because I'm not going to remember this. In the next few months, information will slowly be released by people who work on these oil rigs deep, deep, deep out there, way, 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 way out in the ocean, right? People who work there who are firsthand witnesses. We will be receiving information, firsthand accounts that are not authorized to be released, but they will secretly be released. And it has to do with something that it's dark. It's very dark. We're entering into the Nexus event already. We entered into the event horizon 2-3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago at this point. The event horizon is the point where you can no longer avoid what is going to happen. There's no steering onto a different course, a different path, or any of that. So inner conflict, mortality, or morality, conscious choice. There's a conscious choice that's happening. They're going to dig too deep. It's going to fracture something, some type of holding tank. And there will be a dragon's duel. This is so not good. The well watcher, wisdom, power of the divine. See the well watcher. Do they call, what are the deep ocean oil rig locations called? Are they called wells? Let's see. Rigs or platforms to drill wells. Oh, fucking shit. Okay, calm down. These terms actually refer to the drilling rigs used to drill wells and the large structures that serve as production platforms at producing well sites. The well watcher. I don't know. This is making me feel sick. So this is telling me that a watcher will be released from a well. The watchers of old are demonic things. So that's the next event. That's the next event. We've had an event in the southeast. We've had an event on the East Coast, multiple events on the East Coast. What? Oops. Deep ocean oil rig, Atlantic Ocean. Where is that? The deep sea Atlantic is a semi-submersible oil rig that can operate in the deep ocean in harsh environments. It was designed to drill in water depths of up to 3,000 meters. Where is it at? It's in the middle of the ocean. Where? I'm feeling sick. Where is located? Northeast Atlantic Ocean. It's currently sailing under the flag of Bermuda. It's been used in the Norwegian coast, the Norwegian Sea, and the Utgard Field. Norwegian Sea in proximity to Greenland. It's north of the Greenland Sea. Is this why he wants Greenland? Okay, I'm going to show you guys something. This is from a creator named Huey Lee. I sometimes come across his content on TikTok. I'm not sure. I think he also has a YouTube. I probably should have checked before I came live, but I came across his video. It was either today or yesterday. Because remember, I posed the question about the tariffs and other things, right? So I'm going to share this with you guys. Okay. So let me just put his at. What is his at? Hold on. I couldn't see. Huey. Okay. Hu. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, I'm going to show this to you guys. Give me 1 second. Okay. So let's go ahead and play this. I'll put this on the screen. He's on TikTok.
Greenland is trending on Twitter again. Remember, before the election, a lot of peace lovers were like, at least Trump is against foreign intervention. Are you dumb or are you stupid? How can you look at this guy's face and all the psychological traits he exhibits and then conclude that, oh, this is the guy that stays in his lane? What? Turns out, even before he takes office, he has already threatened to annex 3 countries' territories: Canada, Denmark, and Panama. All US allies, by the way. And today, that government efficiency guy, the co-president, whose supposed job is to reduce costs, threatened to invade Britain, which is a nuclear power and the 6th largest economy in the world. Remember, Russia's economy is only 60% as much as the British economy. If you are one of those who think threatening Russia means World War III, then what do you call this? So what's going on exactly? I can tell you that from now on, Trump's every piece of policy, with no exception, will be centered on undermining the term limit. That's the only thing. There's nothing else he cares about. He will either create a scenario where the Supreme Court can step in and crown him without the help of Congress, or if he feels more confident, he can even push for a constitutional amendment. He has only 3 years until the Republican primaries, so not a lot of time. Think about it. What kind of achievement can be big enough for Donald to override the term limit? He can't just be like, look, I deported 1 million people, so make me a king. That won't work. He would need something much bigger. The only thing that can be sensational enough for that purpose will be territorial expansion. No doubt it will be popular among the knucklehead part of the population, right? And it will also create a legal labyrinth that requires a constitutional amendment. Remember when Russia made the last constitutional amendment, they reset Putin's term served to 0 so that Putin can keep ruling until death. That's exactly the playbook Donald is going after. If the US grabs more territory, like adding 1 more state or something, of course there has to be an amendment. And who knows what kind of clauses he would smuggle in. Either a reset like Russia, or an extension, or some emergency provisions. There are a lot of wiggle room. You see what's going on here? MAGA is not against foreign intervention. It's not even against World War III. They're okay with any kind of conflict as long as they fight on the same side as this guy. Well, you may ask, if all they want is some chaos for Donald to keep ruling, why do they bother changing sides? Well, because only one side allows their president to serve for life. If you want to be a president for life, you have to join that side. The normal side won't work. By the way, I have a feeling that even after Trump's imperialist rhetoric, those free Hawaii hardcore leftists won't say a word. Somehow they're only interested in blaming Democrats. I'm still trying to figure out why.
So I'm not interested in Democrat Republican arguments. What he talks about is very interesting. Very, very, very interesting, right? How did I come across this video? It wasn't the first video that popped on my FYP on TikTok. What actually popped up on my FYP on TikTok was initially the answer to my question the other day. When I ask Soul a question, it will always provide me the answer that I am seeking. When I want clarity, I am given clarity by my soul. So let's go ahead and look at this. Same creator. This is what originally popped up on my FYP.
Trump's newly announced trade policy will specifically benefit two countries. Spoiler alert, the United States will not be one of them. 2 months ago, right after the election, Trump said he would impose tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, the three largest trade partners. Then I immediately noticed something. The rates he proposed for Canada and Mexico were much harsher than for China. Why? So I posted a video saying that the tariffs on China were mostly a smokescreen to help him punish his real political enemies, which are the US allies. Yesterday, my prediction was totally verified. Trump said he would start the jaw-dropping 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, but nothing on China. Yes, I repeat, nothing on China. He was like, I already put tariffs on China in 2017. But the 2017 tariffs were only about a few specific industries, right? The average tariff on China, which is calculated by total tariffs divided by total imports, is only less than 3%. That's like nothing. So what does it mean? 3% for China and 25% for Canada and Mexico. 3% and 25%. Guess who will dominate the US market? So yes, the only consequence of those tariffs will be flooding the US market with Chinese products. Why did he do that though? If, as he said, tariffs are just taxes on foreigners, then why not do 100% on all countries? Why not 1,000%? Right? Why hold back? And why spare China? You don't want more money? Notice that the three countries have roughly the same trade volume with the US, but China has a much higher trade surplus because China's trade barrier against imports is extremely high, which I will explain some other time. So if Trump wants to balance trade, why choose Canada and Mexico? Obviously, the main beneficiary of this policy is China. Killing off China's two main competitors in the US market will surely give a boost to the Chinese manufacturers, which is also a boost to the Chinese Communist Party. So why did he do that? I don't even think it's about bribery. Of course, Trump does have a secret Chinese bank account, which he never bothers to explain. And he also has all these trademarks got fast-tracked. And of course, he probably also has indirect bribery from Elon, who benefited enormously from his super factories in China. But I don't think those are important for him at this point. He can get enough dough just from his meme coin or some other shit. He needs to help China because, as I said in the last video, China is the key to promote the idea that dictatorships are good, lifelong rulers are good, and term limits are bad, and separation of power is bad. Those ideas are what motivate Donald to get up every morning. He doesn't just want to be a normal president who makes some good or bad policy. That's too lame for him. He wants to stay there permanently. If you still don't see that, I don't know what to tell you. And that strategy may actually work. Just look at how many Americans are eager to believe the lavish Chinese lifestyle on Red Note. Even without Trump's push, I'm sure a lot of young Americans with father issues and strongman aesthetics can't wait to have a benevolent dictator to take care of them.
Thank you, Chairman Mao. Thank you, President Xi.
If Trump helps China's global power surge even faster, those hammer and sickle kids will have no problem joining the January 6th crowd. Left and right ain't important anymore. This is an age of daddy figure fetish versus sexually healthy politics. The other policy dimensions are fading away. So mark my words, Trump's team will be all in to rearrange the international alliance and prop up countries with lifelong rulers, especially the famous ones, and beat down countries with competitive elections and short tenure leaders. Okay, so who's the other beneficiary of the tariffs? Duh, what do you think? Remember, Canada has some of the harshest sanctions against Russia, a lot of items. So if Canada is cut off from the US market, it will have to start desperately look for new markets. That means they may have to lift some of the Russia sanctions to recover their jobs. Guys, these are not conspiracy theories because they are so obvious. Like, who else can benefit from Trump's tariffs as much as Russia and China? Enlighten me. In fact, Trump already did it once in 2017 when he quit the TPP. Remember it? On the surface, it was a normal, old-fashioned protectionist move. But who benefited most from it? Back then, the TPP was China's #1 economic concern. When Obama started to pursue it, there was literally panic among China's policy circles. They were worried that the US market will be occupied by the low-cost Southeast Asian economies. And then guess who came to the rescue? Trump's first ever executive order was to quit the TPP, which immediately saved China from being squeezed out of the US market. A lot of people don't understand that increasing tariffs doesn't reduce your trade deficit. Why? Because there are things you just have to buy from other countries. This is science. You don't have enough workers in America to sew your socks. So if you want to reduce trade deficits, the best strategy is not to tax on imports, but to find new trade partners, new suppliers who have open markets and who are willing to buy US products. So sometimes the higher the tariffs, the more trade deficit the US will get, because without competitions, China will be more easily dominate the US market. And China happens to be a not so open market itself. Are you following me? Raise your hands if you have questions, okay? It's like if you are a company that produces tools.
So if you guys are wanting to know who this man is, his is on the screen. Dr. Huey Lee. You can find him on TikTok. I believe I saw that he has a YouTube channel as well. I haven't gone on his YouTube channel, but I asked for the answer to my question. Why is tariffs being put into play? What is actually really being pushed forward without our awareness, without our consent? What is the actual game that's being played with us? I would say he gave us the answer. In 2 videos, he gave us the answer. Less than 10 minutes. Tell me it doesn't make sense. Tell me that if you look at everything from an objective or from a neutral space, just seeing everything kind of unfold. I'm not into politics. I'm not into geopolitics. I'm not into any of that at all. I don't follow any of it. I don't care to know about any of it. And I'm watching everything unfolding for the last how many years? And it makes sense. It might not make sense to most people right now. Most people might be like, whoa, I'm not, this sounds like something big, but I don't quite understand. I'm talking about the very sick end game. I am talking about the sick story of how our existence across the globe is about to change. Why? Because it was pre-planned. Not predestined, pre-planned for many, many, many fucking years. Know when you're being played with. Know when you're being manipulated. Know when you are feeding from a spoon that has scooped from the bucket of lies. Think about it. They villainized him repeatedly. They villainized him. Let's bully him. Let's rob him of a second term. Let's make it obvious. And then let's create an entire societal clusterfuck for 4 years. Before we're done with that 4 years, let's fuck everything up. Let's bring in all sorts of immigrants. But in reality, they're not just immigrants. What we're doing is we're emptying the worst of the worst prisons in impoverished countries. You know, there's a huge difference between a third world country gangbanger, and a first world country gangbanger. Huge fucking difference. That's the difference between people who think they're hard, live like they're hard, and people who implement guerrilla warfare. Huge fucking difference. That's like the difference between, I will say, La Familia, if you know what I'm saying, and gangbangers in LA. Major fucking difference. Major fucking difference in the way they move, the way they operate. Let's bring those people in. And of course, we're all going to think Trump was trying to protect us. And then let's have that woman go ahead and try and run for presidency. Let's make an absolute fucking fool of her. Well, I think she is a fool, though. I don't think she's very intelligent. She's definitely not qualified for any job. That's my personal opinion. I'm not into politics, so I don't know. But they really showcased that. They did not prepare her for fucking anything at all. And what they taught her was what? A difficult question is asked, you don't know the answer. Remind them Trump's a fuck up. Trump fucked us up. Of course, people are going to lap that up. Oh my God. Trump is the lesser evil. Let's just put him back in office. Oh, the cherry on top. Let's pretend someone wants him, right? Attempted. Do you know how skilled you have to be to graze an ear? Y'all don't play. Don't play right now. Don't play. Whoever was arrested, I promise you that wasn't the person. I promise you that wasn't the person. I mean, isn't it kind of suspect that your ear was just grazed? You think Secret Service is so incompetent in their training that they would allow you, a presidential candidate who's just been attempted on, to stand up and like, can't stop me? What kind of stupidity is that shit? I saw that and I was like, I don't think Biden's team is smart enough to do that. Might be his. That's a ballsy fucking move. That's a ballsy fucking move. I wonder how much that costs to find someone that accurate that they just graze your ear. That's fucking ballsy. You gotta give it to him. He's ballsy. Ballsy as fuck. We lapped it up, though. We lapped it up. Yeah. You guys heard about the prophecy? Someone prophesied. I don't even remember where that came from. But someone prophesied that he would be the last American president. They were talking about it back in the last election. They were talking about it, and then people were saying like, oh, Biden's not actually a sitting president. They were like talking about all kind of different legalities when it comes to that. All of this is one hell of a round of Hegelian dialectic. We begged for him. We begged them for him. We celebrated when they gave him to us. Yeah. Oh, Blue-Eyed Dreamer says, he said you will never have to vote again. Oh, I'm sure he will try and make that happen. I'm sure of it. I'm sure that's what this 6 story actually is. And it's going to start coming to light. We're going to start seeing all of these different things. People who know, people who have enough education and awareness on specific types of subject matter. Dr. Huey Lee, the person I just showed the video of, he clearly understands his field of specialty. This is his field of interest. He understands the ins and outs of it, the pros, the cons, and all the other little minute details that I said I don't know enough to understand what this fucking endgame is, but something is wrong. Something is not right, and I want to know what the fuck it is. And then Soul said, here, you want to know? Here you go. Thank you, Soul. You ask your soul to confirm. You ask your soul for guidance. It will give you what you ask for. You have to be willing to hear it, though. You have to be willing to receive the information as is. You cannot wait. Disregard what you're told by soul, the information you're given freely by your soul, and pretend like it's not the answer to the question you asked because it wasn't packaged in the way you wanted to receive it. I asked and it was answered. Be ready. Be ready for whatever type of conflict. It's probably going to happen wherever the deep sea Atlantic floating oil rig, whatever the hell it is stationed. Be ready for it. Something is going to be released from the ocean. I'm pretty certain they're not going to want that information released. I'm pretty certain they're not going to be able to stop it from being released. And once it is released, I'm pretty fucking sure. I'm pretty fucking sure they'll already have multiple things that they can share as part of controlled opposition. They control the narrative if you don't pay attention. You know, that lady that was on the plane, the lady, I'm telling you right now. You remember that lady? That is fucked up. She was going through some fucked up shit. I'm like, oh, they fucked with her. So I have this ability. Energy is recorded. Like, there's this guy. I don't know him personally. I've watched a couple of his shows, a couple episodes of his show. What's his name? Like Tyler or something like that? Let me see. He's some psychic. That is Tyler Henry. That's his name. Yeah. Tyler Henry Medium. Is that the name of his show? Medium? Medium Tyler? I don't know. His name is Tyler Henry. Okay. So for some reason, one of his episodes popped up and he is gifted. He is in fact gifted and he hears the things he says. You know how I know this? Because I could hear it too. I could hear it. I could see it. I don't know if he was able to see what these souls were trying to show him, but he was receiving information. The information he was providing and sharing these people, they're accurate. How do I know this? Because I was receiving the same information. I was watching it. And then finally I was like, it's like what I do all day for work. I just don't want to watch any more episodes. I watched a couple. It was fascinating. I was very, very fascinated by the fact that I literally was hearing all the messages that he was hearing. And then he was sharing it. What fascinated me was not that he was sharing it. It was how honest and transparent he was being with his clients. He wasn't distorting any of the messages. He was giving exactly the message. So I found that very fascinating. Most people will try and interpret and it changes the meaning somehow, but he was giving the message directly. So I have the ability to do that. And it's a very interesting thing because, oh, hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. I had to take that call. It's very important. Okay. So I'm able to see when things are happening in a way that's very just deceitful. And there's a lot that we are being shown that is extremely deceitful, extremely misleading. All of this UAP and, yeah. So it's multiple things that are being used to create internal and externalized chaos, initiate fear. When you're operating from a space of fear, you will not pay attention. You will not think logically. You will not question. You will be much more easily controlled. And I promise you, I thank God Almighty that I've lived such a traumatized life. Why? Because when you place me in a space of chaos and a sense of danger, when I freak out, my freak out makes me very calm. Sometimes I'll stop talking. Not because I don't have the ability to, not because I don't have anything to say, but because I'm so hyper fixated on seeing every single detail that is seemingly not connected to most other people. But oh, yes, they are. Oh, yes, they are. See, having lived a traumatized life, I've been through so much trauma, even from early childhood. There's just something so deliciously rebellious when something or someone wants you traumatized and you decide to say, fuck you, show me all you've got. I want to piece it together so I can know what I'm laughing at. That's how my brain functions. It is. That is just how my brain functions. People try to fuck with me. I used to be like, oh my gosh, but I'm a nice person. I don't hurt people. Why are they doing this to me? Now I'm like, what do these bitches want? What is it? Do I threaten you? Do you feel like I'm smarter? Is it something about aesthetics? Is it because you want what I have? What is it? What is your goal by launching a campaign to try and harm me? Gotcha. And I'm able to see exactly what the objective is. I'm able to see exactly what is being plotted and planned. And why do I need to see that? It's not enough to see. Seeing is the first part. It's in the seeing that you develop a ripened knowing that enters into a state of action, which is gnosis. Knowledge applied is the action. It is the wisdom. It is the gnosis. It is you stepping into your Godhead, entering into that full sovereignty where nothing can claim dominion over you. Why? Simply because you said so. It's that simple. It is literally that simple. The sixth story is that we are going to be protected by someone who's clearly already been exhibiting quite a few psychological traits that indicate this person gives zero shits about anyone else. I believe people when they show me who they are. You need to start developing that discernment because we're about to be shown so much information and you're going to not know what to believe. I can easily watch a video and be like, nope, person's full of shit. Keep scrolling. Emmy, you should say, no, I don't need to. I'm not here in a savior capacity. I'm not here to rob you of the opportunity to learn what you must learn to develop the characteristics that need to be developed. You're on a very specific path. We all are. And you need to begin really allowing yourself to be fully present as you are being taught firsthand by life the things you need to know in order to serve the purpose you're here to serve. What's going to happen? Whatever we choose. Listen, it does not fucking matter who sits on the presidential seat in the presidential office or any of that. It doesn't matter. It never mattered if it was going to be Republican or Democrat or liberal or whatever other whatever group. Okay. It was never going to matter. It was never going to matter. You see, some of you might be asking, well, then why Trump? Because he's probably the sickest one. He's probably the one who has enough narcissistic tendency and balls to do whatever the fuck he's going to do. He's just a delivery method. He is. He's just a delivery method. You know, for people are like, yeah, we hate Trump and this and that. It didn't even matter if it was going to be Kamala. She don't care about women. Are you kidding me? I take one look at her. I'm like, she hates other women. She's one of those women who hates other women. Are you kidding me? We're all a threat to her somehow. I see her energy and I see that. I'm like, no. She's up there. We all gonna be executed in the streets. Firing squads. Ew. Yeah, she's not gonna save nobody. He's no better. He's no better. The reality is we need to come together as a human family. We need to come together. We need to stop seeing ourselves as simply part of subgroups, meaning specific regions, specific ethnicities, specific even levels of melanin within a singular ethnicity. The amount of division that we allow, that's crazy. Like in my own culture, I'm Filipina. It's almost as though my culture assigns a different value depending on the amount of melanin you have in your complexion. That's fucking crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Like, but we're all struggling the same. What do you mean? What do you mean? And I know my culture is not unique in that. I know that that specific struggle is present in many, many, many other cultures across the globe. We need to stop. If we don't form some type of family, at the very least, a human community, there is no nation where you're going to be safe. That's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. You know? That's the reality of it. I look at these videos. There's only a couple. And I see how focused Donald is. And that's what makes me question, what the fuck are you planning? You're so focused. There's like this duper's delight type energy emanating from him. Like, what the fuck are you planning? That you're so tickled this early into your present. It's not tickled because you won. You're planning something. Hey, let me tell you, I can read people like a motherfucker. Oh, yeah. I can read people real good. I don't always want to believe what I pick up. But I definitely know I picked up something extremely deceitful and extremely malignant when I saw him signing papers. I saw him for only a second, and I was like, oh, hell no. This fucking deceiver right here. You know, deceivers are demonic. So I don't like deception. Those who practice deception, they speak with a forked tongue. They are deceivers. The angelic rebellion, the fall from grace, was due to deception. It wasn't a rebellion, it was a full-blown deception used to launch a coup d'etat. Mr. Donald wants a coup d'etat. He wants to overthrow the hidden governments. That's going to be his undoing. He's going to get real ballsy. They needed a ballsy one. They did. That's why he fit the bill. They needed a ballsy one, but his balls will get too big for his own sack. They'll all turn on each other. All we have to do is sit back. Form communities. Communities that support, encourage, and empower each other. Stop being so reliant on a system that was designed to oppress you. You know, people say life will be better without personal income tax in the US. Way back when, my family was one of the many, many, many families that would rely on the tax refund we get every year that would help us to have enough funds to fix whatever needs to be fixed, whatever medical things we need to do. We're able to do that because we have our little tax refund. Yeah. So what happens to those families now? What happens to them? You don't have to file income tax anymore? Well, then how are they going to make it through the year? I know years ago, when that was my family's circumstance, the tax refund would be the time where we would purchase all the clothes our kids would need for the year. We would purchase it a little bit larger, purchase all their shoes, whatever other homeschooling material we need, all of that. Any repairs for vehicles, all of that stuff, right? So we need to understand what we have been hoodwinked into thinking is a solution. I don't know enough about tariffs to be for tariffs or against tariffs. I just know there is duplicity happening. There is deception. There is wickedness. That's all I need to know. That is all I need to know. And there is a need for all of you, whoever it is, for all of you who this message is for, you need to begin figuring out a way to disengage from the very system that's going to force you into compliance for things you don't want. How do you do that? You have to find the courage to launch your own business. You have to. You have to find a way to do it. You have to find a way to do it. I can't go into the specifics of why, but you need to find a way to do it. And if you don't, then you don't, and you will live the consequence of that. That's not to scare you. That's not to threaten you or anything like that. I'm letting you know you're in control. And if you choose that, then you live the outcome of what you choose. Just like if you choose something different, then you live the outcome of what you choose. There is a sick story that is unfolding. A very, very sick story that is unfolding, okay? Compensation and perseverance. It will be difficult for most people to launch some type of small business at this point. It will be difficult. It will be a challenge. But if you allow yourself to find a different form of compensation, then you will absolutely persevere. Circuitous route, perception. They want you spinning in circles. They want you spinning in circles, not moving anywhere. Why? Well, then because you make a better battery pack. All that movement in the same place, all you're doing is loading kinetic charge. They'll be using the ley lines to drain energy soon. People will be getting sick soon. Did you know there's a way to create harmony within the disharmony? There's a city in Switzerland where the people were getting sick because of the 5G towers. And rather than taking the 5G towers down, you know what they did? They studied sacred geometry and resonance, and they created structures that allowed for the energy to be harmonized, and the 5G towers were no longer making people sick. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. There's always a way to negate the malignancy. There is. I teach my students how to utilize the malignancy, not a return to sender, not a tit for tat. No. To harness it. Harness that malignant intent and use it for your healing, for your growth. It's a beautiful thing to be able to transmute in such a way where you can witness tangible effects on your life, beneficial. All right. So, divine guidance, higher knowing. You will be very divinely guided. Okay. You will be very divinely guided, and you will enter into a space of higher knowing. If you choose, once you get to that space of higher knowing, to revert back to that same space of existence that you have already graduated from, then you will still revert back, because that's a choice you made and you're the only one in control of your journey, not other people's, right? Angelic help, miraculous aid. Remember, I was like, that's a fucking lie. Angelic help, miraculous aid. They're rolling out Project Bluebeam. They're rolling out Project Bluebeam. I'm going to tell you something right now. By the end of their time, Atlantis had entered into a space of wickedness and darkness that we humans could never fathom. It was wicked. It was dark. And up until that point, most other nations were not trying to invade each other. We were coexisting in harmony until Atlantis entered into that state of distorted perception and thus distorted sovereign choice. We were all just coexisting. So this whole concept that we have right now as humans, where one nation will invade another, I've been telling you guys this for quite some time at this point. The way we operate as a world is based on the end part of Atlantean logic. Expansion of empire, invasion, destruction. So because of the laws of sovereignty. No benevolent non-human species will be coming to save us. This is a family problem. Yeah. These are cousins fighting with each other. So, what do you think needs to happen? You're going to wait for the aliens to come and save us? For the angels? You waiting for Michael? He's a destroyer. I know. People are like, no, he's not. Yes, the fuck he is. Why do you think he's my babysitter? You want the reality of it? Why he's always with me? Since before I was even born? He's given only one instruction from creation. Destroy anything placed before my path that does not have my permission to be there. That's the only thing he's here to do for me. He's not a cord cutter. He's not any of those things. And you know that concept that Michael protects the children? Yes. Why? You see, they left out some details when they said the children will inherit the earth. It is the Lemurian children who will inherit the earth. They are here to reestablish peace. And he is to protect them. He is also their babysitter. I am a Lemurian child. All of us have him as the babysitter. All the Lemurians. See, Lemuria was capable of tremendous peace. Why? If you're not capable of extreme violence and destruction, you are not peaceful. You are helpless. That's a quote. I don't remember from who. A truly peaceful person is capable of extreme violence and destruction, but chooses peace instead. You'll be presented with a choice in the next 6 to 8 months. You will be presented with a choice. You will either choose to reintegrate with Lemuria. That's the consciousness that will be the dominant. Lemurians are quantum divergents. And depending on the degree of hybridization that you have, if you are in fact hybridized with Lemuria, you'll either be a neurodivergent or a quantum divergent. Higher concentration of Lemurian code often indicates that you will in fact be a quantum divergent. Quantum divergent brains function differently than neurodivergent brains and far different from neurotypical brains. Depending on what you choose, that is what will be honored. If you choose to be part of this very upside down, very destructive, fallen patriarchy type of system, you're going to be consumed by your own internal darkness. Yeah. You're going to struggle tremendously through this period to the point where you will feel like you have lost yourself, or you could choose to reintegrate, become a total being. That requires you to lose your fear of the darkness. Did you know, for people who are, totally buy into that concept of, oh my God, darkness is evil. Oh, you can see the darkness in her eyes. Her eyes are so dark. Fucking weirdos. She teaches fear. Yeah, you're the only one afraid. She cracks me up. She's so dark. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Without darkness, you have no concept of light. You become light blind. It is through darkness and its proximity to the light, its intensity and its texture, that you begin to comprehend what light actually is, its intensity, its dimmed state. These people who are telling you to remain in the light, remain in the light, I come from the light. Okay, do you know what the fuck you're here to do? Or are you just light blind? I'm a whole being. I have light and dark. Oh, she's admitting it. She's a demon. No, I'm saying I'm a whole being. My darkness has nothing demonic in it. I mean, y'all can stay afraid of your darkness if you want. That's up to you. That's up to you. But that's not going to help you become a whole being. So long as you reject parts of yourself, you create voids within your auric field for actual demonic things to enter. I'm actually going to share content on TikTok later tonight. I need to finish editing the video. I'm actually going to release a sample of a parasitic extraction. These people who think they do what I do. Let me show you just a small piece of my work to help you to understand you have no idea what I do. It's always the most wicked one that accuses people with zero provocation, without knowing or even caring to know the reality and the truth of the circumstance at hand. Y'all need to be careful. Careful of who? Just careful. You're going to interact with whoever you need to interact with. You don't need to be scared. You just need to be aware. You need to be able to discern when someone is trying to fool you, when someone is trying to play off of your fear of not being able to handle what life brings your way, so that you will follow them and you will fluff their ego. I don't have an ego to fluff like that. My ego works the opposite. When it flares, I don't feel important. I feel very insignificant, and rightfully so. It needs to stay that way. Why? I mean, you need to know you're a big. I remember one time I was talking to someone on Facebook, is someone who is familiar with the work that I do. And we're joking around, and he's like, I forgot what he said, but I was like, I'm a big fucking deal, LOL. And no, I'm not. And he goes, but you are. And I was like, bro, you're being weird now. you're like being weird now. Oh, I know what it was. We were joking around, and then I was telling him how, because there was some stuff happening. It was a couple of years back. There was stupid drama again, and I didn't want to respond to it. And I believe they had reached out because they had seen something and they wanted to give me some information. And I was telling them how my husband and I were just having a conversation in the car. He was driving, and my husband says to me, sometimes you need to just let these fucking bitches know that you're a big fucking deal. And I was like, I'm not like that. He goes, I know, but sometimes you just need to flex. He was serious. I was like, I'm just not like that. You know, I'm not like that. I'm just not. I don't see the need for that. And my husband was basically telling me that because I encourage everyone and I keep reminding everyone that we are in fact equals, because we are equals who have different degrees and intensities of capacity and gifts. Just because we're equal doesn't mean we're the same. And he says I confuse people, because then the jealous ones, because I keep reminding everyone that we're equals, the jealous ones then get in their head that they have the same capacity that I do. And so he was encouraging me to be a little showboaty, a little flexy. Like he's telling me, you gotta flex on these bitches. My husband's a Gemini. He says shit like that. And I'm like, but that's not me. Ew. That's ugly. And of course, he's like, I know, but sometimes you just gotta let people know. Yeah. So that's how that convo went. And, it's this thing of, do you have to do that to prove to others that you have a value? Some people might say yes. For me, I think I've progressed enough in that portion of my healing. I'm not done with it, nowhere near halfway. But I think I've progressed enough to not feel like I have to do that. There will be times where I will share certain aspects of the intensity of my existence, but that's simply because it's appropriate to share it at that point in the conversation. Not to flex, right? But because it's important to share it at that point in the conversation. So no, my ego doesn't function that way. I have literally no interest in forming a hierarchy. I go to a gym where pretty much everyone else is like 90% fitter than me. I should show you guys. I took a video of this one lady. Jesus fucking Christ. She must be like, I don't know, 60 or 70 years old. Like, can you stay home and knit something for a day or two? Like, your muscles are pumped enough. I can see every fiber of every single muscle group just when you breathe. It's like, ma'am, you're fucking up my workout, not because I'm jealous, but because I'm fangirling you so hard. I can't focus. I'm staring. And so I took a 10-second video of her. And then I walked past her and I was like, I'm so sorry. You're just so fit. God. She goes, oh, thank you. And in my head, I'm like, you already know how fucking fit you are, ma'am. You already don't play coy with me. I know you know how fucking fit you are. And then I wanted to ask her if she was like competing, like getting ready for and I was like, stay in your lane, leave her alone. She's working out. But every once in a while I do watch that video and I'm like, one day, I will have those arms too. One fucking day. See, I'm not jealous of other people. I'm not. I don't see people as my competition. I see people as either someone who will inspire me to reach a whole nother level of accomplishment in whatever I'm doing, which is what that woman was doing. She was inspiring me. Or the opposite of that is a person who I see either is a reflection of something I never want to be or something that I was at one point, and I don't ever want to go back to that. Ever go back to that. But no one is ever my competition. Ever. And I'm not anyone's competition. I'm just not. I mean, do you want to compete with me about being a stay-at-home mom? Because that's what I identify as. Because, I'm very domestic. Let me tell you, I can clean the shit out of a kitchen and a bathroom. I can fucking organize a closet and a pantry. Boo, I will clean up the children. I'll tell you, everybody's skin exfoliated. Extra soft. Crispy ass clothes. And bomb ass dinner made from scratch. I'm saying. Whew. I am a stay-at-home mom like no other. Shit. I'm saying. Let your light shine. This is a period where, yes, a 6 story is unfolding, right? A 6 story is definitely unfolding, but is it your story? Because I mean, I think that's really the question. Is it your story? Because if it's a 6 story and it's your story and you don't like it, aren't you the author? Aren't you like the screenplay? Aren't you the producer, the director, and I don't know what other sound person and creative director and whatever else? I mean, aren't you in control? Anytime I don't like where my story's going, I'm like, no, absolutely not. No, we're not doing that. Not today. No. And I either say it inside myself, seriously, or I say it outside of myself, verbally, out loud, or I send a request to my soul. Hey, I don't want this to be my experience. Show me and guide me out of this trajectory and back onto my path. This is not part of what I'm here to experience. This is not my 6 story. This is a story that something outside of me is trying to convince me to participate in and own. I told you guys before, for many years, my family just traveled nonstop. And I remember we were at this one city, and my husband and I, we were at the laundromat doing our laundry. And our youngest children were with us, and they were toddlers, like one was still breastfeeding. Okay. And I was in the car breastfeeding the youngest, and the other toddlers were outside of the car with my husband, and they're like dancing around and just playing right by the car. We're parked, we're waiting for our laundry to finish in the laundromat. On this large group of young adults comes maybe 20, 30 people. I don't know how many at this point. And my husband's eating snacks with the kids outside. He's wearing Jordans. My husband's a sneakerhead, so he had some expensive shoes on. And one of the guys from the large group of young adults yells from a distance to my husband. They're walking towards him. And my husband's like, what? And the guy says, I like your shoes. What size are they? When you're in a city, like an urban type setting, like an actual city, and someone says to you that they want to know the size of your shoe, I don't know, that kind of gives the impression that they're planning to mug you. They're planning to steal your shoes from you with force. So, of course, my husband's like, what? Okay, calm down, Gemini man. It's just me and my husband. And I'm breastfeeding. So, what happened? Well, first I told, hey, put the fucking babies in the car. So he puts our toddlers in the car real quick. He closes a sliding door. I tell my children to lay down in the third row, like, shh, lay down, play hide and seek, whatever they have to hear. Shh, stay laying down. And the place where we were at, it's legal to conceal carry. So what did I do? My husband's about to engage in conflict with a large group. I didn't say a word out loud. I unlocked the lockbox that had my Glock. I loaded the Glock, put one in the chamber, sat quietly in the car, waiting to see how things will play out. And I kept saying over and over, I don't want to experience this with you. Just leave my family alone. I don't want to have to do this to you. When I say I am my husband's Bonnie and he is my Clyde, that is not an understatement. And I just kept saying that over and over. I don't want to experience this with you. And as they're getting loud, the people in that group are telling the guy, "You're being stupid. Shut up. Look, you're starting shit." And they all started walking in a different direction. And of course, my husband's not going to back down. And so they're basically, the guy was like, "No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding." And they left. At which point, remove the mag, take the one out the chamber, put it back in the lockbox. "Okay, guys, you want some snacks?" Didn't have to experience anything with anyone that I did not want to experience with. That was not part of my sixth story, because I'm not having a sixth story for a life. No, I didn't think I was being badass. I was preparing myself to defend my family with the appropriate level of force. Did I want to? No, but I will defend my family. They never knew I was in the car. The group, they didn't know I was in the car. They didn't know what I was doing in the car. You have a say in how your story goes. You have a tremendous say in how your story goes. We as individuals have a say in our personal journeys. We as a collective whole have a say in the collective journey, right? Because if you don't know that, now you do. Use that knowledge responsibly. Start trying your best to focus on the outcome you want, rather than being so hyper fixated on the shitty outcome that's being forced on each of us. I will not participate in that. Whatever these organizations have planned, I promise all of you right now, I will not be participating in that. I don't give a shit if me and my family need to be hidden away in a wilderness somewhere for several years, because let me tell you, we have survival skills. We like the outdoors. We're perfectly fine, but we will not fucking participate in any of that shit. But we also will not force others to choose a peaceful life the way we have. That's not my place. It's not. So you have to choose for yourself. You have to choose, what kind of experience will you allow yourself to have? And sometimes that choice, it's this thing of getting confused about having a choice and being able to dictate and command your entire environment. You don't get that. Because some people will think, well, if I have a choice, that means if I choose to go to a rough part of the neighborhood, then I can command the entire environment to bow down to me. No, babe, if you don't want to get jumped, don't go to a fucking hood where you don't know shit and start being offensive, because I promise you, you'll get jumped. That might be the best thing that happens. That might not even be the worst case scenario. See, I'm able to have the kind of journey that I have because I'm aware I can only control myself. If you are forcing it on me, I have a say in how I will experience it. If I'm entering an environment that's not compatible with a peace that I seek, I must remove myself from that environment. And you know what? Not even a couple minutes after that whole run in with that group of young adults, our laundry was done and we immediately left because we were scared. No, because we're not going to wait there for another circumstance. Our task there is complete. It's time to go. We don't need to prove anything. We don't. Simply owning your space, oftentimes, like truly, genuinely owning the space you occupy, is enough to halt the bullshit in its tracks. Years ago, I was in I fucking hate Boulder. I love the entire state of Colorado. I love quite a few states, but I think Colorado is one of my favorite states. And we were in Boulder this many years ago. And this lady hit her car. She was parking. We were parked. We weren't moving. Our engine was off, trying to figure out where we're going to go next for the day. She hit her car. She damaged her car. My husband gets out and she's talking shit to him. He's getting pissed off. So I get out of the car to try and de-escalate. And I'm like, just, it's okay. Her car's right here. Take a picture of her license plate. Take a picture of the damage. There's marks on her car, marks on our car. And if she doesn't give us her insurance, we're reporting that to the DMV as a hit and run, right? Don't argue with her. Don't get like crazy in the parking lot because our kids are in the car watching. And this lady had already walked off. She was walking to the stores and she saw me and heard me. And she comes running back. She's acting like she's going to charge me and fight me. I'm not a very big person. And at that time, I was about 90 something pounds, literally. So as she's running towards me, screaming across the parking lot, threatening me, I just look at my husband and I smile and I say, I'm going to jail today. And I smile and then I turned and I looked at her. You know what she did? You think she swung at me? She was much larger than me. She stopped dead in her tracks. I will fucking rock you if you lay one hand on me. I will rock the fucking shit out of you. I'm from the Bay Area. I'm from motherfucking Oakland. That's not how we fucking roll in Oakland. I'll tell you that much. I will fucking rock you. I may be small, but I'm fucking scrappy. So I didn't even have to say any of that. I just looked at her like, I'll toss you across this parking lot. And she stopped and my husband goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. He's like, our kids are watching. Because he already knew. Didn't have to tell her nothing. She could feel me own the perimeter of my space. She stayed beyond swing distance. She made sure to stay several steps back. This is how you own your space. Was I yelling? No. Was I threatening or even speaking? No. But she fucking knew. She knew. People can read energy whether they realize it or not. As all of this stuff begins to happen across the world, frequencies will be broadcast globally, causing people to have their amygdalas hyperstimulated by frequency. There's technology where you can calibrate the frequency to hyper or hypostimulate specific organs, specific sections of your brain to modify your behaviors. Quite a few people who have done really horrendous, very tragic things like mass pew-pewings, some of them have gone on record speaking about ELF waves. Yeah. So that frequency has existed for a very long time. They will be turning it all the way up. And as they do that, people will be much more susceptible to parasitic thought inception. That means one little whisper in your ear. Just hit them. Okay. Does that honor you? No. Is that something that you must do? Probably not. It's not even your thought. So probably not. You have to be aware. You have to finally begin owning your space, because if those people are going to be used in that way, I call them Trojans. These are people who have physical access to you or social access to you. And this access to you is being utilized by something demonic. They're basically being controlled by a demon at that point, not possessed. just controlled. And they're being encouraged to negatively impact your day. You give that pathway in, they get in. You have to know how to stand your ground within your space, within your mind, within your emotions. Stand your ground. Does that mean stand your ground in a negative and very confrontational manner? It depends. What's the circumstance? Not everything requires that type of confrontation. Sometimes when something outside of you occurs, something inconvenient, something upsetting, something full-blown malignant, sometimes it's not you needing to stand your ground against whatever that is. Sometimes it's you needing to stand your ground internally against your own fear and desire to sabotage the peace you've established for yourself. Think on that. Wow. Holy shit. Were they attacking you? Or were they using this perceived attack on you to trigger you into a mental space where you are now willing to attack your peace yourself? Holy shit. Holy shit. So I did expedites on Tuesday, right? For those of you who don't know, I am really protective of people in my community. And when you are in my community on a consistent basis, you know, you're like consistently present while I'm doing live streams and we're like, you know, I'm seeing you interacting and I become even more protective. And I was doing an expedite for someone who is consistently in the live streams. It was a past life reading. It was a powerful reading too. Fucking badass. I was like, whoa. It was such a powerful, like, damn. And this is a person that I'm familiar with their energy. And I know they do still have somewhat of like a question of if they are powerful. And this reading was so powerful. There was no one that heard it that had any question of how powerful this person is. But there was this one person who was like, oh, you made a mistake. You're reading me. No, the fuck I'm not. No, the fuck I'm not. And I wasn't offended because they were implying that I'm not aware enough, skilled enough to know when I'm reading someone else outside of who I'm intending to read. No, that's not what pissed me off. That's not what offended me. What offended me was this person was being used as the fucking demon Horita to try and trigger the person I was reading for, to trigger them into a space of thinking, oh, see, this person doesn't even think that I'm capable of being that strong. Maybe I'm not. Maybe Emmy's just being nice. Maybe like Emmy is just, you know, kind of like hyping it up to make me feel better. And so, yeah, I went off. I was triggered. I went off and I told that person off. I absolutely told them off, but not immediately. I did have some stern words. And they said that they apologized. When you say, and I learned this from my husband when he was doing all kinds of different types of call center work, he was taught, he was trained that you don't take ownership of someone else's problem. And the way you don't take personal ownership of their problem while soothing their tantrum is by saying, I apologize. You don't say, I'm sorry. You say, I apologize. Because then it's like, you know, it's unfortunate that you're having a tantrum. It's not my fault, but I'm acknowledging that you're having a tantrum and that's unfortunate. So let's just calm you down so we can finish this work and get you off the phone. I remember that. So this person says, I apologize. And I was like, don't apologize to me. At which point they thought, right? They obviously don't understand me or know me very well. And they came back with, it was an apology for everyone. No, the fuck it's not. How fucking rude of you, because guess what? You apologized to everyone except the one person you were offensive to. And it wasn't me. It was a person whose story you tried to own. You tried to steal their history. At which point I said, you need to know when it's a lost cause. You can't help everyone learn. See, I'm a phenomenal fucking teacher. And I know when someone is capable of learning, which it's most people. Most people are capable of learning. But there's a select few who are incapable of learning because they don't want to learn. They want to prove they're right. They want to prove they're better than everyone else. And really, I don't have the energy to mince words. I have a disdain for people like that. I really don't give a fuck how my words affect your feelings. You cross my path for a reason. Let me be the one to cut you open and let the truth shine out. I was made a Capricorn for a reason. Capricorn moon, so it's hidden. You see people like that, they only pick up on my Piscean energy. Fatal mistake. Too bad, huh? Too bad. Too bad. I will never allow someone to openly try and steal another person's soul history, to stroke their fucking weak ass ego. No, your story is yours. And if someone wants to insert into your story a sick period or a sick outcome, no, you get a say in that. You get a say in that. And I know that this person is not going to say anything. They're very nice. They're not a pushover. Don't get me wrong. They're not a pushover. But I knew they weren't going to say anything about how they were made to feel because they respect me. And because they chose silence out of respect for me, I chose to be the fucking megaphone and be like, no, thief, you don't get to fucking steal someone else's soul history. You don't get to say that's your story. I think the fuck not. And yeah, I said all of that. Because you decide how you will experience something. And in that moment, I decided my actions were worth whatever consequence because I needed to be the voice for someone who wasn't choosing to use theirs. Again, not because they're a pushover, not because they're weak, but because they have respect for me. You choose your story. And if you're going to choose to let someone else steal your story, that's a choice. I can't be that for everyone. Only when my heart tells me to. Just so happened, my heart told me to. So I did. Too many people are living on the surface. The surface is a place where you cultivate it to look aesthetically pleasing. The reality is, the truth of the aesthetics is that it can only go so far if the soil is not appropriate for what you're trying to grow. Nothing will grow. You will not grow. Without growth, there will be no flowers. Without flowers, there will be no fruit. Without fruit, there will be no seeds and no chance for a future of anything. Apply what I just said to the way our lives are being manipulated and coerced right now. Our food is tainted. Our air is tainted. Our water is tainted. And now, our minds are being tainted. Tainted by what? Social media, social engineers, agent provocateurs. These are the organic portals that have been tasked to further perpetuate the oppression we live through day in and day out. They task us to police each other. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. And these people don't even realize. I was looking at a video that I have on TikTok. Someone commented something. It's an old video. It was during a time when I was going through another cycle of attempt to cyberbully me. Like, bitches, just give up on that shit. I don't give a fuck. Cyberbully me? Okay, whatever. You think I cry over you? I don't. I go lay on my beanbag and I go like watch 90 Day Fiancé. Right now it's 90 Day Fiancé. I don't give a fuck about shit like that. I don't give a fuck. So this person comments, it's an old video, and then I see there's a comment right beneath the new comment that I got a notification for. And it's a person who's like, something is off about your eyes. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe these people. And there were 100 something hearts on there. Yeah. Something is off about my eyes. You look at the comments that respond to that comment. It's all a regurgitation of the same shit one person said to try and create fear. Because why? Because I'm a threat to everything they've built. Why? Because they wish they were me. That's why I don't cry about this shit. The fucking patheticness of it. Like, okay. What struck me though, 100 something people who know nothing about me. So eager to jump on a bandwagon, regurgitating the same shit, knowing nothing about nothing. You can see everything you need to see in someone's eyes. Sure. You know who says that? You know the origins of that? It was a specific demon. The windows are the eyes. The eyes are the windows to a human soul. They can see everything that they need to see, meaning your insecurities, your illnesses, your weaknesses. What's it called? Iridiology? That information was disseminated by a demon. Now, you could use it for good. You can figure out the diseases, problems with organs, things like that. But that whole saying was first initiated by demons. And I'm the demon. Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah. You don't see someone is wicked through their eyes. It's based on specific factors of their aura and the vibration pattern. It's a vibration pattern, not a frequency pattern, because it has to do with internally held energy. That internally held energy, depending on the degree of intensity and the patterning of the standing scalar waves, indicates the person's insecurities and the degree of ego misalignment. And wouldn't you know, anyone who has the actual ability to see and understand the meaning of auras, the truly wicked ones, they don't have black auras. Their auras are yellow. Why? It's yellow because it's tied to the solar plexus. They're trying to siphon your energy. It's all over their field. It's to lull you into compliance. It's to make you feel inferior. Makes it easier to breach your space. You know, the most powerful, most reliable angels of God, they're hidden in shadow. Yeah. They don't look like what we portray angels to be. From everything I've seen since childhood, the things we see as angels, those are principalities. They're the dukes, earls, princes of hell. They present themselves in that way to be aesthetically pleasing to humans. I don't know, people didn't realize. They thought I was a spiritualist. They thought I was a spiritualist. They thought that I was an energy worker. They thought that I was a light worker. They thought I was a star seed. I'm none of those things. I'm none of those things. As part of my work, I'm a demonologist and exorcist. That's only one part of my work. A lot of the things you're being told across the board through all forms of social media, it's to get you confused about how things really operate. It's not for me to convince you to operate in any specific way. It's just not. I don't want to. I want you to decide things for yourself. But just know, a lot of the things that you cling to as a way to protect yourself, as a way to understand things that make you feel like, oh, I can tell when someone wicked is interacting with me. The wicked ones, unless you have a comparable sensitivity and capacity for clairvoyance, you can see. You're not going to know they're wicked until they're done doing what they're doing to you. Unfortunately. So you have to go based on feel. Are you drawn to someone because they're safe? Or are you drawn to them because all you've ever been drawn to and all you've ever known in your life is toxicity, maltreatment, deception, and dark, dense living? I used to be drawn to those people because I was accustomed to punishing myself. I would make excuses for those people and the way they treated me. I'm not a victim. I co-created those situations. I didn't initiate it. But the moment I see that you have the capacity to be hurtful and harmful to me on a subconscious level, I'll welcome you in. You'll be my new bestie. Crazy shit. Yeah, crazy shit. These days, no, I think the fuck not. You don't want a problem with me. Telling you right now, you don't want a problem with me. I ain't got no problem, but I could be your problem. I could be your problem, your mama's problem, your daddy's problem, your auntie's problem, your cousin's problem, your grandbaby's problem. No, I'm joking. I don't want to be anyone's problem. Just leave me be. So you have to own your space, own your entire self. That's the only way to navigate through this. You have to own your space. There's nothing about you that needs to be changed for people who are not intentionally malignant, people who are not knowingly wicked. And there are wicked people in this world. They don't wonder if they're wicked. They wonder why you're not giving them what they want and what they deserve because they're entitled to that. You know how many people try and act as though they're entitled to me and my existence? I think the fuck not. I think the fuck not. Right? Don't play with that. Don't entertain it. And if you think that if you find a way to say it nice enough, then they'll understand. And no, they're going to talk shit about you regardless. So how about you save your energy and you just keep it moving? Just keep it moving. Just keep it moving. That's it. I've learned to no longer explain things to people. unless something needs to be explained for professional reason, I completely disengage. As a matter of fact, it's been in play for, I think, a couple of years at this point. I don't know how many years. It's been a couple of years. Even on a professional level, I disengage. After a certain point, I'm disengaged from that. I don't touch any of that. Or all correspondences and all pertinent details, all contracts, everything, purchase agreements, they're forwarded to an independent client review board, multiple person board. I give them all the details. They look at all the policy procedure. They look at all the details, what policies apply, which policies were violated, and they decide the outcome of that. And then they just tell my team, and my team relays it to the person. I'm completely removed from it. Like, nope, nope, no, no. Like, did you guys hear several months ago that I bring students into my academy and then I kick them out? Except I don't decide that. I literally don't decide that. I give all the information to an independent client review board, and the head of that board, this is their career. This is what they went to school for. High level education, multiple degrees in policy procedure interpretation. That's their career. And I don't give any personal input, opinion, all factual. This happened, this happened, this happened. Here's all the information. Y'all do with that whatever needs to be done. You let me know. Well, not even me. Let my team know, and they'll let the person know. When I say disengage from that sick story that's being pushed on you, you need to fully disengage. No need to explain, no need to try and get them to understand why. Some people don't want to understand why. Those of you who are here with a very elevated purpose, you're going to find that they're going to, whatever people you have conflict with in the next 6 to 8 months, they're going to try and find ways to keep you engaged. I see this all the time. Whenever someone wants to try and start conflict with me, right? It always has to be someone else starting conflict with me. Why? Because I stay in my own fucking lane. I don't go into other people's live streams. I typically don't even comment on anyone else's posts. If I disagree, okay, I swipe. I keep scrolling. If I do agree, I heart it. Really not many comments. I sometimes will comment funny shit though. Like just funny shit, funny comments, but not much outside of that. Why? Because I stay in my lane. So if there's going to be conflict, if there's going to be drama, it's going to be starting because of someone else initiating it and trying to force me into it. What happens every time? And for the last, I don't know how many cycles of this bullshit, and let me tell you, I'm getting pretty efficient with it. I'm getting pretty efficient with this shit. We're knocking them out faster and faster. Like, nope, fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Legal for you. Legal for you. Legal for you. I don't give a shit. I'm busy with my beanbag and my peaceful life. What they'll do is they'll try and engage you. And then if you don't engage, they'll try and bait you. Most recently, trying to get me to engage. Oh, they were fucking livid that I released one response. Just to set the record straight, not even talking shit, just like, this is the fact, this is the claim, here is the actual fact. And they were so pissed off. They couldn't siphon my energy. They couldn't force some type of destiny swap is what I'm thinking. And so they began saying, oh, You know, she's like so full of shit. Her own community isn't supporting her. No one's coming to her defense. Why? And the only reason I knew about this was because one of y'all commented on one of my posts about something else, I think. Yeah, they're saying we don't love you. And we all just know you don't want us to comment on that shit. And I was like, girl, what's happening? Wait, what? I really didn't understand. And then someone had to explain it to me, like, yeah, no, they're saying that no one is sticking up for you. No, guys, don't comment on none of that shit. You have something to get off your chest? Do it on my post. Comment on my, don't talk shit about nobody. That's not worth it. Do it on my post. Use your voice, use your words, use your comment to further enhance our sense of community here. Fuck everything else. And what happened when they couldn't get me or any of you, my community, to engage? All that shit fizzled out. And it fizzled out to the point where they involved other large content creators. I don't give a fuck how many hundreds of thousands you have. You ain't shit to me. Why? We not the same caliber, babe. Your value is set on how many people you can get to follow you. My value was set by God. That means I just need to be a good girl and do what I'm told to do and live a life that I'm asked to live. I don't need to prove shit. I don't need to engage in shit. You see, the dramas that plague you, they're fueled by you. That's not the first time someone has really tried so hard to force me to remain engaged. I'm good. I'm good. It's not because I'm afraid. It's because of Code of Bushido. When I know I can destroy you with minimal effort, that makes you an unworthy opponent. If you are not a worthy adversary, that doesn't make my win one full of honor. Waste of time. I will not engage. It has nothing to do with fear. My energy is used for what I choose to use it for. Your energy needs to be used for what you choose to build for yourself. And if you're going to use it to continue to respond to every single drama that pops up for you in the next 6 to 8 months, you're going to waste all of that energy. That energy was supposed to be used for you to build a completely different type of life than what you have right now. Oh, because your life right now sucks? No. Because you deserve to experience a life where you feel healed, whole, and supported by creation. This is what they're trying to steal from you. This is the part of your story they are trying to steal and replace with a sick story where all of us suffer, all of us starve, all of us have the boots of the troops of our oppressor on our necks. I don't fucking think so. I refuse. I will not exist in a state of mere preservation. This is where they want us. This right here, this state of preservation, you're so afraid you can't think of thriving. You're simply fixated on preserving an existence that is not worthy of you. If you want to stay small, you can, but you're going to cramp and you're going to hurt and you're going to be miserable. And then you're going to wonder why you're so miserable and why life feels so limited. Well, if that's what you choose, then that's what will happen. It's not about the life you have is not enough. It's about understanding. You haven't even begun to understand how much beauty, abundance, and peace your soul has been planning for you this whole time. It's crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy. Years ago, I would have never thought I could have what I have now. What does that mean? Like, oh, she's bragging that she's rich. Actually, I'm not rich. Nowhere near. I'm actually tripping about orthodontic fees. I got a lot of fucking kids and they all have braces. Anyways, so here's the thing. Years ago, my husband was a breadwinner. He was in the IT field and he worked in Silicon Valley. He did a very good job of providing us a beautifully peaceful life. And we always had enough for everything that we need, because we have a lot of children. That means no fancy trips, which I didn't want anyways. No bougie things, which I'm a simple person anyways. So in no way was my life deprived, right? But there was this one thing that I've always wanted, like so badly. For those of you who are not familiar with California traffic, my husband's work would start at 8 a.m., but he would have to leave sometimes 6 a.m., sometimes 5 a.m. in order to get to work at 8. And then, of course, he works the 8-hour shift, meaning 9 hours because it's an hour for lunch. So by the time he gets off work, it's around 5. But he doesn't get home till 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock at night. And if he's going to have to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning again, that means he gets to eat dinner with us and then he has to go to bed. He's tired. He's exhausted. That means he doesn't get time to bond with our kids. That's a sacrifice he makes in order to provide. I'm not working. I'm a stay-at-home mom. So that dream was that we could work at home, find a way to work at home so we could both be home with our kids all day. And they could bond with both of us. And when I allowed myself to let my life get me across that bridge on the other side of my fear, you know what happened? I got exactly what I wanted. No, we don't have enough for us to not work. We have to work. Got a lot of kids. But we work from home and we work together and we spend all day with our children. It's a beautiful thing. Did our life suck before? No, it didn't. Because these things that people think like, oh my God, poor you, you're low income, so you don't have Louis, you didn't have, you didn't have some Jimmy Choos, you didn't have any Gucci, I don't even fucking like those things. I didn't even like those things. So what was I missing out on? I remember someone was asking me, I think it was one of my kids, it was recent. One of our neighbors, we were coming home and I was trying to turn into the neighborhood, and one of our neighbors, their delivery truck was blocking the street to get into our neighborhood. Apparently, they were getting their Lamborghini delivered. They got a Lamborghini. And I was just like, sir, I really don't give a fuck about your car. I need to get through so I can get to my simple ass life in my simple ass old vehicle and just get into my garage, get into my house. Like, I really don't give a shit. Like, get out of the way. Go like park somewhere else. Seriously. I'm not impressed. And then one of my kids was like, if you were really rich, would you get a Lamborghini? Or would you get like a fancy car? I was like, no. For what? That's like, for what? I don't like to drive that fast. If you put me in something really fast, like, I'm a crazy ass driver. I drive really good. When I say I'm crazy ass driver, like, I know how to drift. I do. I'm from California in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? That was like the heyday of all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I don't want to be irresponsible. I wouldn't get a car like that. Even if I could afford it, I wouldn't get that. That's not who I am. That's not what I like. It's just not. If you like that, good for you. Hopefully one day you'll be able to afford something like that if you can't right now. Hopefully one day, if that's what you like, there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't like that. Not for me. I can't fit all my kids in there. Do you know how broad my husband's shoulders are? This beefy ass man, he won't fit in there. Actually, he will, but he'll be all cramped. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not fun. That's not fun. To me, that's not fun. I like vehicles where, you know, we could have space and we could like have a picnic and we could fit all the kids in there. You know what I'm saying? That would be amazing. Oh, you're from South Dakota? Shit. I was talking to one of my really good friends the other night about drifting on ice. Like, if you hit a patch of black ice, what do you do? And it's like, you take your foot off the gas and you just keep steering. Don't slam on the brakes. Don't press the gas. You just keep steering. It'll ease up in speed and you will gain traction again. Unless, of course, you have California slicks, meaning bald ass tires that you're trying to drive in snow. Don't do that, which we did that our first year in snow. So I learned by life, you don't run California slicks outside of California where it snows. But that sick story, we have to allow ourselves to really just not participate in that. We can't convince everyone to not fuel that very sick story that they're trying to force upon us. A story of a new dictator waiting to take their throne. A story of us as the serfs. We are not just indentured servants. We need to take control of our story, take control of our communities, and just guide ourselves back to a space of wholeness, peace, and unified diversity. It's time. If you're going to let yourself be afraid, that's okay. Because you can still do things while afraid. You can still create tremendous change for yourself, tremendous potential for healing while afraid. Everything that I've ever done that was worth my while, I did while afraid. Everything. Every single one of my children, I was afraid the entire labor, the entire delivery, but we did it. We made it. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. And this is not to negate or shame anyone else's birth story. Okay. But all of my children, except my first, completely unmedicated. Do you know how much fear it creates in you to feel pain for a prolonged period? Yet we are able to do what needs to be done. And no, I didn't choose that because I'm badass and this and that and powerful. No, I choose unmedicated birth because in my first delivery, the epidural irreparably injured my spine. And it was appropriately inserted. I wasn't willing to be injured again. Learn the first time. You can still get through things while afraid, but if you know there's already been a bad outcome from complying, y'all, I didn't want an epidural for my first child. I was coerced into having one after the 27th hour. If I wanted an epidural, I would have gotten one before suffering for 27 hours. They coerced me. They pressured and pressured and pressured. And because I'd never experienced that before, I believed them. I believed them. And so I agreed. I was afraid and I agreed. And I will never forget what I lived through from that point forward. Apply that to the entirety of your life. The way people will try and force you and force you and force you. Oh, it's because they care. Oh, it's because they love you. Love does not dominate. I might have all the insight in the world, but I will never force you to do something. If you ask me my opinion, I will reiterate, this is my opinion, but you need to make your own choice. This is what I think. Do I know everything? No. But this is my opinion. And I don't know how it fits into what you need to do. Right? I don't know how it fits into what you need to do. You know, one time, one of my sons decided to drive from the state that we were in, which was quite a few states away. He decided to drive by himself to go visit his uncle. And he kept having a weird feeling, and I kept having a weird feeling. He kept asking me, Mom, should I go? And I said to him, listen, you need to decide for yourself. You are my son. You know what that means? That means my blood runs through your veins. That means no matter what you face in life, you will find a way to overcome it. So whatever you decide, that is what you should do. Make a choice and stick with it. And you know, I told him that despite being shown over and over that he would be abducted and trafficked. But I did make sure to tell him, please turn on your location on your phone. I never asked him to do that. This is the one time I asked him to do that. He said, okay. And then I also told him, no matter what you do not stop in Salt Lake City. Do not stay there. You drive past it. You either stop before or you pass it. Do not stay in Salt Lake City. So he leaves. He's driving for several hours already. I wake up like every 30 minutes, 15 minutes through the whole night. I'm not bothering him, but I'm waking up and I'm checking his location. And I see him progressing. And then I wake up at one point, it's like maybe 2 or 3 in the morning. I wake up and I'm feeling very uneasy. And I see where he's at on the map. And I'm like, he's in fucking Salt Lake City. And I didn't go back to sleep. I stared at that dot on my phone for a good 10 minutes. Like, I know you didn't fucking not listen to your mom. But I didn't call. I didn't text. And as the fear was building in me, then I see his vehicle start moving again. I'm like, oh, I was just tripping. Oh my God. I'm such a helicopter mom. Except he shares with me that some dude was trying to talk to him and trying to get him to go somewhere through his car window when he stopped at the gas station. And I was just like, what? And he said, yeah, it was really weird. Of all the times Uncle called me, as soon as this guy starts talking to me, Uncle called me and he was on the car speakers because his Bluetooth was connected. And my brother can be aggressive. He can be downright like, what the? He's like, who the fuck is that? Through the phone. He's like, hey, get the fuck away from the car. to the guy. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then I guess he was like yelling at my son, like, get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out of there. Who the fuck is that guy talking to you? So that guy got kind of weirded out because, like, dude sounds like he's gonna do some shit through the phone. And he backs up, I guess, and my son leaves. It just goes to show, like I said, life has a way of keeping him safe. It is my blood that runs through his veins right along with his father's, and both of us are heavily protected. That means our children are too. Whether they're with me or not, they are protected as well, and fear should never stop you from doing what your heart and your soul are leading you to do. And my ass clenched hearing that. I ain't gonna lie, I was so fucking livid. Like, I fucking told you. Do not stop in Salt Lake City. Like, how the fuck are you gonna ignore that? Do you not understand what your mom does for work? Like, this is all I do for work. Just no random shit for no reason. And he was fine. He was fine. But, you know, the odds of his uncle being awake at that time, calling him specifically at that time. What are the odds? I am 100% certain, had it been me who called my son, and me and my girly ass voice on speakerphone, I don't know how that would have ended. But hearing my brother, who obviously sounds like he's a whole can of what the fuck. Uh-huh. The guy backed up. He was trying to lure my son to go somewhere. He approached him inside the gas station, the mini mart. Was giving him a whole sob story, something about like a fiance or something like that. And my son's like, wow, what the fuck you're talking about? He goes back to the car. The guy follows him to his car. He was already in the car with the doors locked and the window was open just a crack, but still. I wasn't warned about that city specifically for no reason. I wasn't shown the things I was shown specifically for no reason. My sibling didn't call at that time specifically for no reason. Life has a way of making sure all the unnecessary bullshit you don't need to experience, that's not to affect you, unless you choose in that moment to open that door. That would have been a real sick story. That would have been a real sick story. So, whatever this sick story is, yeah, let's just be aware of it, but not give it any type of energy. Instead, let's focus on what we want to build. Let's focus on our awareness of how protected we are, especially when we don't get in our way, when we don't stop the protection from protecting us, when we don't allow the danger in directly into our lives, opening the door, opening the windows. Protect yourself, protect your energy. There's nothing you need to be afraid of. But even if you do feel fear, keep moving through your life. The only way that fear and that circumstance, the fear is warning you about, because that's why you're feeling the fear, right? It's warning you about a circumstance. The only way that circumstance can really mess you up is if you stay there long enough for it to be able to actually fully access you. Do you understand how powerful you are? One day I was going to get mugged. One day. I had dinner with a really good friend of mine, and we're two females, and we were walking through like this college town area. It was like the older part of town, but it was like boutiques and like bougie stuff. And with the way the shops were laid out, there's alleys behind them, and it's just a short walk between the alleys, but they're not lit up, right? In the center of the alleys, where like all of these alleys intersect, there's beautiful little areas where trees that are wrapped in lights. So it's a beautiful thing. But we go down this alley, and this guy he has a bicycle that he's standing with, and he's standing outside the door of a shop. The shop door is closed. He's clearly waiting for something or someone. And me and my friend walk past him, and I get like a sick feeling. And I can feel he's staring at us, not checking us out, but he's considering doing something bad. And we keep walking, and I kind of slowly turn around and look at him. And he doesn't look away. So he's trying to see if I'm afraid. And yes, in that moment, I was starting to feel some fear, but also, yes, I'm ballsy as fuck. I'm ballsy as fuck. So then I stare at him again. Like, no, the fuck you're not. And this time I look pissed. We break eye contact because he slowly starts to look away just to see. Kind of looks back, and I'm still staring, and then he looks away. I knew in that moment he was planning to rob both of us. Did he? No. Why? Listen, there's two of us. And it's not that I'm going to have my friend fight you. It's that there's two of us. While you're distracted with her, I'm going to create a lot of fucking problems for all three of us. And I'm crazy enough to do it. A lot of fucking problems for all three of us. And it's just not worth it. Find someone else who's willing to comply. Sometimes your protection kicks in just because you're not willing to comply anymore. You're not willing to allow. And I'm not talking about with words. I'm talking about owning the circumstance, because I already put in my head, we all going to have a fucking problem if you walk towards us. I wasn't even waiting for him to walk towards us. My energy was emitting the message. We are all going to have a big fucking problem if you walk towards us. And no, I don't think I can fight everyone, but I think I'm enough of a fucking hard thing to handle for pretty much everyone if I choose to be a pain in the ass. And that's all you need to know. It might just be enough for you to get caught, end up spending jail time. Not worth it. I don't even have cash in my wallet. And I don't know the PIN number for any of my cards because I always use my husband's. So it's really not even worth it, but I like the wallet. So that's too bad. I'm going to put a fuss up just because I like my old ass cheap wallet. I don't even know where I got it. I think Walmart. But I like the color. So no, you can't have it. You see how that worked? He stopped. He didn't bother. Why? Because people who want to prey on you, they need you to comply. I've seen this video of a lioness who tried to take a wildebeest baby, a baby wildebeest. And the mother saw it. So she turns around, she goes charging after the lioness. The baby gets away and goes to the rest of the group. The whole thing was to separate the baby from the mother. Mother wasn't having it. So then they decide to attack the mother. There were several wildebeests or several lionesses trying to attack the mother. She wasn't having any of it. Fuck no. And then you know what else she did? Because all the others stopped, but there was one lioness who she was driven, right? Because she was like, we're hungry already. I want to bite you in the ass. And which she did. She bit the wildebeest in the ass. At which point the wildebeest kicked the shit out of her belly. And when she lost her grip on the wildebeest's butt, the wildebeest then did a final kick to her face and broke her jaw, the lioness's jaw. They're both injured. I like to think I'm that type of beast, that mama wildebeest. We can tussle. We'll both be fucked up, but you're not going to get what you want from me. Whatever it is I'm protecting it with everything that I am. You will not get what you want from me. Am I going to start shit? No. But I will protect what I need to protect with everything that I am. Knowing that whatever happens, that's what's supposed to happen, and I'm resigned to that. Whatever it is. Whatever it is, but you will not do it easily. We have made it far too easy for those who are in positions of power to do whatever they want to us. Especially in the one country where we are so proud of how free we are that you can't even say what you want to say. You can't do what you want to do. I don't know, but this is a good place to stop. I have people who I feel prey on me all the time because I'm not like them. For those people who you feel prey on you, why are they allowed to have access to you? Why are they allowed to be able to continue to keep tabs and have access? And I know people will create new accounts on social media and, all of those different things. For one person who thought they could prey on me, fuck you, I know you're watching. For one person who thought they could prey on me, the count is somewhere close to 200 profiles created on one platform to try and harass me. All of those banned immediately. And criminal case filed in their country along with a civil suit filed in their country. Fuck that shit. We'll wreck both our fucking lives. But you will not continue to do what you're doing with zero consequence. It's the best money I've ever fucking wasted. It's the best fucking money I have ever wasted in my life. At this point, that's how I see it. I could cry about it and say, for that amount, I could have already built like 4 or 5 fucking sanctuaries just in legal fees. Fucking A. I could have fed so many people. And now I see it as that's the best fucking money I ever wasted. Finally, I see myself as worthy of being protected by me. Hell yeah. Yeah. The intent was to destroy me, yeah? But was I destroyed? No. I was emboldened and enraged. And now they got to deal with the consequence. I won't stop the civil suit until it's completely done. It's going on 2 years now. Actually, I think it's over 2 years at this point. Still collecting evidence. Yeah, that's a lovely thing to finally reach a point in my life where I'm so patient. Let people fuck themselves up. All I got to do is document it. That's it. That's it. Ain't that something sweet? Yeah. So guys, Whatever shitty story someone is trying to push on you. Nope. Don't agree. It's that simple. Don't agree. Don't make it easy. When you don't own your energy, own your space, and really define that boundary, sometimes it has to be in a harsh way. People get very brave and they up the ante of how far they're willing to go to harm you. I had to learn this the hard way. I learned the hard way that I should have corrected that immediately. But I didn't until they began threatening to me, my kids, my husband, specific viewers. They didn't like that these people could have access to me. You see, sometimes your sin is simply removing their access. They don't know what to do about that, right? It's not your job to heal those kind of people. It's not our job to heal the government. It's not, because it's running exactly the way it was designed to. It's our job and our obligation to walk the path that was designed specifically for each of us and to live the purpose that we were created to fulfill. That is it. Nothing more, nothing less. Just that. So focus on that. 6 to 8 months from now, a lot of drama. Don't got to have anything to do with it. Don't feed into it. And then life goes on, like it always does. Life goes on. But at least now, if you guys are just tuning in, we did talk earlier in this video about what's actually being attempted. It's a 6 storyline. If you missed it, go watch the replay of this on my YouTube channel. I'm live on, I think, like 8 or 9 platforms right now. I'm evolving across all social media. If you're on TikTok and you want to see more information about me because you're new to me or you don't know my YouTube channel, just click on the link in my bio. That will give you all my information, all the different things that I do, the different things that I offer. And that's the best way to find out more. If you want to watch the replay, go to YouTube. YouTube has this recorded as well. So guys, I hope you have an amazing rest of your night. Excuse me. I will see you all again very soon. Bye, everyone.